Belgium to Congo, turned it to hell. Rubber and ivory children fell. Britain snatched Nile, France took the West. Germany grabbed land like it passed the test. No language in common, just rule and divide. Fed us their flags, made us swallow our pride. They taught us to hate what we saw in the mirror. Now we pray to their gods just to feel clearer. Hey, we weren't even there. Split the bloodline. Names not our own. Waters like chains. Waters like chains. Still today, we carry the pain. Who gave them the right? Response, take body. Who let them rewrite? Not our bodies cold. Who drew the line? Through our souls. Colonial goals. What they stole, we'll reclaim whole. We are the story they tried to control. But memory's a drum and truth don't sleep. Our roots run deep where their cuts ran steep. Now we rise with fire in our name, burning their maps, reclaiming our flame. Burning their maps, reclaiming our flame. You carved us up. We rise again. One Africa. Yeah.
Okay, greetings, everybody. Welcome to another Alkebulan Awakening Series. As always, in collaboration with Khanyi and my sister Unduku and our guest. Greetings, everybody. Habari gani?
Mzuri.
Mzuri. You're done introducing yourself, Oladele?
Yeah, I'm done. Oh yeah, I forgot my other bits. Yeah, don't forget. I was getting too excited. Sorry, guys. Excitement today. I do apologize, guys. My name is Oladele. I'm the founder of the Emergent Alkebulan, and as always, for those who are accustomed to being on a platform, you know what we're about. We're basically here to challenge the narratives, basically the miseducation and the what's the other word I'm looking for? That we I don't know what to use, but
Cognitive dissonance?
That's the one. Cognitive dissonance. We basically had to awaken our consciousness and decolonize our minds. And enough of the cognitive dissonance, because it's so long, guys. We see the facts, plain facts, and how we're being treated straight in our faces, and we just pretend it's not there. We want it to be business as usual. It's not business as usual, guys. Like we always say, we are at war. The quicker we understand that and start moving, like we're at war, the better for all of us. Anyway, welcome, guys. Unduku.
Habari gani? Karibuni, asanteni kwa kuwa nasi. What's the news? Welcome. Thank you for being with us. That is Kiswahili, Kiubuntu. It is the language of our unity. I'm looking forward to today's conversation. I really am. I'm looking forward to today. It's needed. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, our elder, Mama Khanyisile, for people who have joined the student, just a brief intro. I know you don't like it doing intro. A brief intro, please.
I must do the brief intro.
Yeah, do a brief intro of you. Or should I introduce you? Okay, Ali, you want me to introduce you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll create.
Okay, this is my elder, Mama Khanyisile Litchfield Tshabalala. She's an author, she's a historian, she's a South African MP, and she's fearless and uncompromising. She's a warrior woman. So welcome, Mama K.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. People package you. That's nice. Of all the things you said, I I like fearless. We do a society of cowards, by the way.
Yes.
And I think some of them combine cowardice with ignorance. It's a very deadly combination. You can't be ignorant and still be a coward, because then you're gonna kill us. And we are going to justify why you are killing us. Anyway, tuned in from Emerging Alkebulan, from Kumbugeni, from those who just saw it on YouTube and tuned in across the continent, we greet you. And taught me to say Habargani, which means how are you? Isn't it? Yes.
Okay.
I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, we're all excited. Sorry, the last but not the least, Khanyi, same surname. Introduce yourself for the first time on the Emerging Alkebulan and Kumbukeni platforms. Who are you? Tell us who you are. Tshabalala. Pretty got a lot to live up to. Same name as well.
Hi, everybody. I'm Khanyi Tshabalala, and I'm the founder of Seize the Light Foundation, dual qualified lawyer, and Pan-African Youth Member of Parliament.
Are you not going to say anymore?
I'm going to leave it there for now. I think they'll find out more about me as we go along.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, guys. Our topic today, okay, before we go into that, I'm not even going to talk about the topic. We're all aware of the overreach that's actually happening in the world today with America and Iran basically doing what they do best, basically destroying everything in their path. So we're going to start with that conversation today. Basically a few minutes, just touch on that. I'm going to let my elder start first. Okay, in terms of what's going on in Iran, Iraq, Israel, what's your thoughts?
Oh, I think I posted something on YouTube that it saddens me, and I see that's the one that a lot of people are. I think it speaks to their hearts too. It saddens me to realize that we have quickly migrated a militarized global political financial architecture. So we are back in 1300s when the mighty can invade the weaker, and they can actually even collaborate and come together. So we are back to the Berlin Conference, where Western Europe and America and whoever is their ally can come together into a country and remove a leader they do not like. It's got nothing to do with the people in the country. It's a leader they don't like, and they don't like leader because they stand in the way of neoliberalism. What is neoliberalism? It's a system that says capital, the rich must get richer and the poor poorer. Neoliberalism that says governments have no say in the governance of the or other global institutions. Capital has a. So if you stand, actually they say the government is the post office between capital and the people. So if you are Iran and you say no, that can be true, we want to run an Iranian revolution, but we're also producing oil which they want, then we are standing in their way, which was the same situation with Venezuela. So what saddens me, which is what I tweeted, Iran has done, defend our national sovereignty. We can't defend our self-determination. So in essence, we are not free because freedom needs to be defended. Otherwise, you will be reconquered again. So for me, what's going on when I realize how from Ghana 19 we have neglected our defense forces. In fact, most African defense forces are not even in the 20th century. Some of them truly are still in the 19th century. A trickle in the 20th. When you ask Google, it tells you South Africa, Nigeria, Algeria, forget what's Egypt, are trying. But I mean, I know our defense force, and I can tell you that we can't do what Iran did. We can't fight back against the US. So, and if that's our example of a defense force that's strong, I don't know about Egypt and Algeria because they are cited. I know the Nigerian one is not two. At least I can talk about the two that I know. So for me, I'm sad because it means We can't change the situation, Oladele, if we put a government that they don't like. If MK wins election tomorrow with a constitution that says we are going to nationalize our mineral resources, a constitution that says we are going to review that same constitution because it doesn't favor Africans, it means they can invade in the morning and finish in 2 days and install whoever they want to install. I'll leave it there. It's a sad situation for Africa.
Yeah, and like my sister said, and this is my thoughts. Africans, we tend to be, I don't know what's wrong with us, but we tend to pick sides of those our colonial leanings. Basically, is how we position ourselves, and which is a bit, for me, is stupidity and it's ignorance, because your colonial leanings has basically told you for years and centuries that they don't care about your interests. They don't care about you. The only reason why they are with you is basically what they extract and take from you. So today, I see, I'm going to say this, I probably can see a few Africans going to church today, go and pray for the God of Israel. I won't be surprised. And this is how stupid we are. Because look at what America's doing. Look at what Israel's doing. They're basically blatantly overreaching and doing what they're not supposed to do. That's basically a violation of every law there is. They're breaking it to do a regime change because simply they don't agree. And then for some reason, you African countries, you cannot pick sides on this. And this is what I'm trying to say. You need to stay neutral, unite as a bloc, and then build strategically within yourselves to empower yourselves, because this is going to be an opportunity. If this carries on, this is an opportunity for Africans to actually become who they're meant to be. Because while they destroy themselves, we need to stay neutral. We can't pick sides. So this is my thoughts today, because as Mama Kamake said, I was angry seeing it, but we knew what was coming. And they've been doing this for a while. Obviously, the infiltration, everything they've been doing, basically to bring that regime down. They've done so much. And they've been doing this for the last 30 years. So what they're doing now, it doesn't surprise me. It's because it's expected. Because the hegemony powers, no matter what, they're going to get what they want to get. And they will do it by any means necessary. And this works for Africa. They're going to do the same to Africa as well. So if you think it's not Africa, but it's something they can easily do. If they don't like Tinubu today, or they don't like Ruto today, or they don't like Ramaphosa, they can easily take him out. I'll leave it for now. Underkun.
So not only did they do that, there's a video going around, I am not certain, I will say, of its validity, but that one of their airplanes went to Lebanon and spread poison all over their farms. So here's the thing. I saw a post. There's a group of Zionists, I'm going to call them, who are putting out videos. And the typical caution is, don't speak on this because your channel is going to get shut down. This is the one topic that we all cannot talk about. To hell with it. Honestly, to hell with it. If this is it, that to hell with it. Like, we are not going to be talking about blatant inhumanity because apparently we're worried we're going to be shut down. To hell with it. So here's the thing. I saw a post by one of the Zionists claiming that apparently the FBI is going to be monitoring accounts that are anti-Jewish, anti-Israel.
Yeah, did you see that? I posted that today, actually.
And this was my question. What federal law, because the FBI is a body that monitors and enforces federal law, the United States federal law, within the United States, that's the FBI. They have crossed their boundaries, but that is what their mandate is. What federal law are we violating by criticizing Jews and Israel? And until you give us that federal law, you need to stop the nonsense. We need to know, because this is racism. If nothing else, that's what it is. Racism. Racism and abuse of power. We don't have a law. We don't have a law that tells us we cannot criticize Jews or Israel. And if we do have that law, the United States government, you're going to have to explain why you don't have a law that punishes criticizing Black people. And we're going to have to put it in the books, because that law with the Jews is going to set the precedent for us to say, why is it that Black people can be criticized? Why is it that the president of the United States can put up pictures of Black people as apes and he gets away with it? Why can he do that? But we cannot criticize the inhumanity that Israel is participating in right now. The government of Israel, as far as I know, is not Jews, as per what God apparently assigned as a chosen people. And also, logically, a creator, this whole nonsense about the chosen people. Yet we have a part of the Bible that says we are all created under the image of God as equals. Bullshit. And it's about time we start using our brains, the chosen people. Chosen to do what? And Oladile, this future you're talking about where they're going to be attacking Africa soon is not very far away. Majority of land right now, a lot of land is being bought in Kenya by Israelis. A lot of land. Guess who's doing what is happening in Congo? A lot of those organizations are Israeli organizations by their what are they called again? They're citizens, right? So enough is enough with letting fear control how we speak about this entity that is destroying humanity. It is about time we stop letting fear control us and we start speaking for humanity. It really is, because let me stop. I am operating today from a point of emotion. Mama Khanyisile, you said we would not be able to do what Iran said. Do you know that today when I go into community meetings, they will not even allow the conversation on defense? They won't even allow for that conversation to be had. We are so ill prepared for defense, and they will not even allow that conversation to be had. So to my fellow Wanabuntu, to Africans all over the world, if you claim you're seeking liberation, please put on your big girl, big boy underwear and prepare yourself for the uncomfortable space of talking about how we are going to prepare to defend ourselves from these evil. Because this is plain evil. These are not human beings. Human beings are supposed to value humanity. Human beings are supposed to value nature. Human beings are supposed to value the well-being of their environment. When you stop acting like a human being, you're not human. And guess why I have no problem saying this? Because once upon a time, for no reason but the fact that we have this skin, they claimed we weren't human. So I think I've said enough with this.
Okay, Kanye, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I'm affected about this at two levels. So as a lawyer, I think we've had a tough time within the legal community because we've in real time seen the very international law that we've all studied be undermined. And it's a tough one because right now you've got lawyers sitting in their fancy offices drafting papers that they want to present to the UN, yet the atrocities are going to continue. So I think we're seeing that there's this huge disconnect between what's written down on paper and lived experience. And this is something for me that I cannot really reconcile, that we can get comfortable that the law as it stands today is what is going to protect people. And I think that is something that I would love to bring forward in this conversation. Nduku mentioned a point about the creator, and this morning I was actually thinking about, the Bible actually tells us that we are not humans, because if you claim that we were created to somebody else's rope, you've already dehumanized us in your creation story. So we actually can't get surprised that we're not seen as human, and when it comes to the law is there to protect humans and humanity. So if the line is already drawn, I think we need to wake up and realize we cannot keep waiting for the UN or whatever other international bodies to save us. We need to decide for ourselves, how are we best going to protect ourselves? Because what's on paper and the lived experience, there's a huge disconnect. The second point I wanted to mention is, as a South African, right, I'm deeply affected by any atrocity that happens in another part of the world, because that's what happened to us. And we see in real time, people don't believe you. People will say, oh, it wasn't that bad. Because remember, what you're seeing is a very sanitized version of the events. It's not, and right now, social media technology is so well progressed that actually we're lucky that we're seeing what we're seeing. When what was happening in South Africa was happening, journalists weren't allowed into the country. Recordings were deemed illegal. People were being imprisoned for no reason, just because they were trying to show what was happening. So for us, it's always sad when we see events happening where we know what systemic oppression feels like. We've lived through it. And yet people will tell us it wasn't that bad. Just forget about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Guys, today's topic is basically one of a sensitive one for those religiously indoctrinated people. Because and I put it out there, so for those of you who come onto a platform, you know what to expect, so don't be shocked. The topic today is how patriarchy destroyed the order of nature. A lot of religious people would defend this, saying, "Oh yeah, because obviously God is a man. In the Christian religion, in the Islam religion, God is a man." So basically, and I often ask this question: if God is a man, so what about your mother? The mother that birthed you into this world, that carried you for 9 months, where does she fit into the equation? Because without the mother, there'll be no man. So make it make sense. So this is basically why I want to break this topic down today. So before we do that, there's a particular video that we're going to share. It's about half an hour. We probably won't go that long, but it's just give us a brief introduction in terms of misogyny. Misogyny, which is basically what patriarchy has caused. Demeaning of women, the way we look at our mothers. And as a man, I'm a man. Obviously, you can see I'm a man, and I often say that my phrase is always, how can we men demean or say we're above our mothers when our mothers are the ones that birthed us into this world? How can you, in your own sane mind, say you're above your mother when she gave birth to you? Make it make sense. Unduku, let's go to that video, please.
Let me know when we start if the audio can be heard.
Yeah, okay. So guys, stay tuned. This is going to be a very interesting conversation today.
So don't stress.
Welcome to In These Times, a multi-platform podcast and YouTube broadcasting channel for mental health issues. We want to address mental pain and emotional suffering by bringing you information that can alleviate your distress. And you may make some important mental shifts that bring back your light, your love, your hope. Please use the Contact Us button on our website to let us know your deepest troubles and concerns with your mental health. Help us to help you. Now, does anyone care about misogyny apart from women? And do we even know what it means? Misogyny is violence, hate, and harassment directed specifically at women by men. But this understanding of misogyny is really quite modern. Misogyny can take brutal forms of rape, domestic violence and abuse, female genital mutilation, and sexual harassment in the workplace. It can even happen in public spaces, such as walking in streets or parks at night. It's present in gender pay gaps and career discrimination. Its violence is saturated in young male culture, such as porn, violent video games, and urban music. It can even be seen in government ministers, the police, and judges. They have no legal punishments to deter men from such actions, and they appear not to understand the trauma of rape, groping, or the harassment and assault of women. Recent protests in the UK about the murders of Sarah Everard and Sabina Nessa forced the question of misogyny back into the public forum. But feminism and the Me Too movements have failed to stop the problem. So is it time for men to give an explanation and an account for their behaviour? Well, with us to help us understand this misogyny is Previn Karyan. Now, Previn, somebody said on a sort of slightly lighter note before we get into this, that they described it as the oldest human prejudice. And there are lots of references throughout history to it, starting with Adam and Eve, where Eve copped all the blame for what happened to them. And Plato said that men should stick with intellect and women with sexuality. So I think that says it all, really. But of course, of recent times, it has come to something truly horrible for women in terms of terror and hate and aggression and violence. And so we are talking about real hate from men to women, aren't we?
Yeah, and those references to Plato and Adam and Eve are absolutely right, because once again, the problem of misogyny cannot be solved by looking at it as a cultural issue or something you can legislate against, although there urgently needs to be legislation to stop men being misogynistic and conducting the hate crimes that they do. But it is a psychological problem, Chrissy, and it is a mental health issue. And once again, because the pharmaceutical industry don't have a drug that can cure us of misogyny, it doesn't appear anywhere in psychiatric manuals, but it is a disorder because it is a state of mind, specifically in the male brain, that feels a need to terrorize women, to humiliate women, because actually, when you strip away all the machismo of the male persona, when you strip away all this bravado and posturing that men do, they are very scared brains inside the male skull. And this is something that needs to be understood without trying to shame men, by the way. This is not an occasion to simply attack men. What we need to do is try and ask ourselves, where is the problem of misogyny located? And it is clearly not in the law, it is clearly not in culture, it is somewhere in the human brain. This need from men to attack women in this way, which indicates that actually the fundamental root of this is men are terrified by women.
So they are emasculated, are they, by women? That's what we do to them.
It isn't what women do to men. It is something more fundamental than that, Chrissy. So around 15 years ago, I went to a seminar up in London at a Lacanian centre. And somebody called Jean-Jacques Bernstein from Paris came over. And he was talking about Lacan's idea from Freud that men think of themselves through their genitals, okay, which is the penis and the phallus. And so men actually think like that. And Bernstein made this incredible comment, and he said, that's why men are dickheads. Okay? Now, I took that away as something way more profound than men being dickheads. What it told me was that women can give birth to children. Men will never do that. Women have a relationship with the earth and with cooking in their stereotypes. Men rarely do. Men don't have a fundamental relationship with life. They have short, shriveled phalluses for most of the time. They can't experience sexual pleasure like women can. They are inferior. They can't give birth to a child. They don't know what giving birth to life means. Men, psychologically and biologically, do not have a relationship with life. That's why they are terrified of women. It's not about emasculation. It's about the fundamental biological, psychological makeup of men. They are terrified. They are inferior species.
The thing is, there are lots of grades of misogyny, it seems to me, and we will look in a minute at what happens in the case of rapes and killings, which are truly terrible in society, and I think everybody agrees. But on a lesser level, you know, I think having worked in an industry where it was perfectly normal to go around pinching a girl's bottom or make comments about how she looked or grope her. And I do remember an occasion when I was reading the news on radio, and there was a panel between us, a glass panel, and the man dropped his trousers, and just to see if I'd go on reading the news. Did I go and complain? Did I take them to a tribunal? No, because I needed the job. So are we not making all too much fuss of the slightly lesser grades of misogyny?
The microaggressions that you're talking about are quite tragic, and it's actually quite painful to hear you saying, I needed a job. Okay, that's hideous. that women have to put up with this kind of behavior, not just because they need a job, but actually because society tells them, oh, this is so funny, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, let's reverse the situation. If men found that foul, repulsive women came up to them and pinched their bottoms and made leering comments and groped their penises inside their trousers, do you honestly think, Chrissy, that men are going to sit there and go, this is so funny, I won't complain, I just need to do that for my job? No, men would probably physically slap the woman back. They would be angered and outraged. Imagine a woman saying to a man, you men, you have small penises most of the time. Do you think a man would find that funny? No. He would find it a deep insult because it strikes at the root of his inferiority. Now, why is it that men don't have to tolerate that kind of abuse? Why is that not a social norm? But it's okay for women to be subject to that kind of constant abuse and harassment. It's in the newspapers, Chrissy.
Yes,
it's constant.
it's
There's
still
body
going.
shaming that goes on with women.
Yes, and of course there are, you know, even this week I was reading about some quite well-known man who.
Okay, I'm just gonna bring our guest back. So, guys, you got a context of what we're talking about today. So we're gonna break this down. Mama K, I think you want to go first. Give me a second. I'll reset the screen. Okay, Mama Khanyisile, if you want to go first. Based on what we've watched, I would love you to come in with kind of what's the perspective? A kind of historical perspective. Can you hear me? Yeah, we'd love you to come in with okay. We can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah, we can.
Yes. Mm.
Mm. Mm. Perfect. Mm.
Oladele, apparently there's no audio.
There's no audio,
let's
yeah.
Pause. Hold on. Mama Khanyi?
Mama Khanyisile, we can't hear. They said they can't hear you.
To those in the chat, can you hear myself and Oladele?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Hold
Okay.
on, Mama Khanyi. To those in the chat, can you hear me and Oladele?
Yeah, can you just respond? Can you hear me?
There's no sound for viewers at all. All right, we need to check.
There's
what's
no
going on
sound
with
for
that.
viewers. Okay, give me a second. Can't hear. Okay, bear with me. Just bear with us, guys.
Can you hear Oladele?
Can you hear us now?
They can hear us, but not Mama Khanyisile.
Okay, Mama, can you say something, Mama? Okay. Yes, they can.
All right, so Mama Khanyisile.
Can they hear me?
Okay.
Yes, they're saying yes. Yeah, we can hear. Okay, they're good.
No, they can't hear her.
Can you hear Mama? Can you say yes or no if you can hear Mama Khanyisile, please?
Let her speak and be quiet
Yeah.
for a minute.
Mama K, can you say something? Say something.
Yes, I'm asking them if they can hear me.
They're saying yes.
No, they're not. They're saying yes to us too.
Oh yeah, we can hear too.
You can hear her? All right. Okay. Yeah, they can hear
Now,
you.
yeah, now, yes. Okay, carry on. They said no. Yes, yeah. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so they didn't hear the whole thing that I shared.
Yeah, you want to start again? Yeah.
Am I starting afresh?
Okay, please.
I hope it comes out. I hope it comes out the way it came out. I'm saying my response to the video. One is that I hope that the people who have chosen, especially Africans, now realize that the issue of patriarchy is inhuman, one, but two, that it is not synonymous with humanity. There is no culture that can claim that this is cultural. Women are underdogs and men lord it over women. There's no culture that can claim that, because gender roles are a societal thing. Gender is a social construct. So there's a point in time when humanity decided that men are the actual thing and women and children are the parcels of men. There is a point in time. Because if you go back to eras like, I watched a whole series of Queen Jingambande of the Umbundu people, now Northern Angola, who fought against Portuguese colonialism. I watch her and I'm like, okay, women there didn't even have it 10% as hard as I am having living in South Africa in a constitution that is acclaimed to be the best in the world, in a so-called democratic country. I mean, what this whole continent is suffering now and the whole world cannot even be compared to what women had to put up in those times. I remember a scene in the movie, actually, where because a lot of the Angolan Africans slaves in Brazil. So there was this Brazil merchant who was coming to, and they brought a female who was wearing the Victorian way, the long dresses, and then this one of the warriors that empire asked, if this is where you come from, how do your women run? She was a warrior. She was in the defense force protecting the country. It was just like, how can you even ask a woman to dress like this? How do they even walk? How do they run? How do they save themselves? So for me, honestly, my response to this video is that there was a point in time where we socialized men to hate women, and it has not stopped. We are still continuing. Because if you look even at an era, Oladele the Benin Empire, the woman called the hidden Oba of Benin, achieved such heights that the coming in didn't even believe this was a woman, so they made her into a man, or Ioba Idia. How did these women emerge and achieve such heights? How does Mujaji and Mujaji, the founders of Southern Africa, how do they start a matriarchal reign queendom that's functioning, where people came as far as the breadth of Africa, the breadth of Africa, show us how to make rain? How did those women make it if truly patriarchy is African and patriarchy is synonymous with humanity? I think I want to, with what Sankara said in the book, he wrote about women, that show me a society where half of its citizens is, and may my feet never take me there. Because how do you say this is natural? How can you say synonymous with how we were from the beginning of time? Things, humanity would never have developed. The society held in silence, and humanity came. Now I'm going to talk about Africa. How is it that pre-colonially we achieved than we have achieved when Christianity, Islam, capitalism came in and taught us what they call the natural order of the head, the women and the children are the... We have regressed because we are keeping half of society in silence. So I think for me, honestly, my response is to that white man. I take my hat off for him. He's not denying it, that it happens with white people, because white people easily say, oh, it's an African. It's Africans who are patriarchal, not us. We are democratic. It as a white man, but two, he's actually saying it not only as a white man, but as a man. The problem of patriarchy. It's hating women. You are just a hater. Any patriarchal person is a you don't like women. You hate women. Deal with hatred. That's what it is. He has put the nail on the head. I think Oladele, I'll leave it there for now that people can come in because there's 3-4 with you of us today.
Okay, no worries. Khanyi, what's your thoughts on the video?
I think for me, I was thinking about the video in context of the topic. And as Mama K is mentioning, there has to be a point in time where gender became a construct, you know? Because I was actually thinking if a male and a female were born, but we couldn't identify them biologically that they were actually male and female, the only way that we differentiate both genders is because of their sexual reproductive organs. But let's say that was hidden until the age of 18. Do you then think that men and women would be treated any differently? No. So for me, I was thinking that I think we need to narrow down where the issue lies. The issue lies in reproduction. And if you look at all the laws, especially in regards to women's health, even if we look at modern medicine, the target has always been the womb. It's always about women's reproduction. And when you think about it, I think for me, you wonder what is the obsession when it comes to women's reproductive health? And in my view, I think to some extent, men and women can do everything. Like each of them can do what the other can do. The only thing that women can do that men can't do is give birth and create nature, create life. So I think for me that maybe that mindset, that misogynistic mindset stems from a jealousy that men can't create life. And you know, with these scientists and the people in the medical industry and with all the experiments that they've undertaken since the beginning of time, it's something that they can't replicate. And I think that is the underlying root cause of this deep hatred, because these people have managed to replicate every single other aspect of nature. When it comes to your pharmaceuticals in the medical industry, they've managed to replicate medications, treating certain types of conditions. But when it comes to reproduction, it's something that you can't replicate, right? Even if you do, it's artificial. And those kids come up with real deficiencies. So I think for me that we do need to sort of focus and narrow down the underlying root cause of this hatred, that you even in itself, the fact that you will say men and women are equal, but women must prove that they're equal to men. I don't think that scientifically can ever be true. You have and again, the dichotomy that's been created, we seem to forget the overarching is humanity. A male and a female are all human. You deciding to separate the two, that's a social construct, right? So I think that the underlying cause is with regards to reproduction. And if we look at the law, if we look at the Bible, inheritance, and how we've evolved as a society, I think for me, that's where the underlying hatred stems from.
Brilliant segue. Underwood, have you got anything to say on that before I pass it back to the cause of it? What's entrenching this?
Is today Sunday?
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah, we're in church.
I do have something to say about that. So this video for me, I recently asked a friend, this friend, just a side note, because sometimes it's nice to bring in the humor. I recently asked a friend, this man reads all the time and is always buying books. And I asked him, hey, do you have this book? And he asked me, is today? And so I was like, perfect moment to use that joke. Anyway, this video emphasizes for me the importance of looking at life from an African perspective and the need for what I'm doing right now and what was started before me, this is not something I started, to build an Afrocentric education system for our children and for generations to come, right? I agree and don't agree with what was said in the video, because to say that men are jealous as an African because they can't produce life is to not understand what the production of life is. There's no life without man. There's no life without woman. That's just how it's set up. Life cannot be without one of us, right? So men cannot be jealous because they understand and they know that they have to give you the seed for you to carry the life. So as an African, we understand that. The conversation has already become Western. Immediately they say that. And it's I'm seeing this clearer now as I do my readings for school now, and as it's shown how we have been conditioned to think from a Western perspective on everything we do, right? This idea, God is a man. God was never a man in African culture. Mama Khanyisile, you can speak on this further when you come back in, right? God was never a man. For us Africans, God was never a man. And all the stories, just in Kenya, all the stories, man, woman, man, woman, man, woman, the first man, woman, man, woman. There was never woman, man. It was understood that God comes in all forms that you need support for. The creator, you can reach out to the creator for fertilization. That area is feminine. You can reach out to the creator for support in war. That area is masculine, right? This is how we think. And I said, again, Mama Khanyisile will speak to this further because she has done much more research on this area. So I'm going to ask us all right now to do the best we can to shed our minds of the Western virus that we all carry, so that we can look at this conversation from an African perspective, because that Western virus is blinding. And if we're going to go back to healing our community, we must return to who we are and have this conversation from an African perspective. Our men are not jealous of us because we carry babies. No, they're not. Because men understand that they must put the seed in you for you to carry that baby. So the question we need to ask, and the focus that I hope that we end up going to, is colonization, enslavement. And this is going to the question that Khanyi is asking, when did this happen? Economic displacement, cultural erasure, spiritual dislocation, criminalization of Black masculinity, systematic humiliation and emasculation of our men. Right? And then we haven't even talked about the introduction of alcohol when they first invade our continent, because that's a big thing. It came up yesterday in the movie that I just shared about apartheid in South Africa. It was a big thing to take the man away from his position. And when you're influenced, your fears are heightened. You're not behaving in a way that you do when you're not influenced by alcohol. So there's so much more to talk about our men and what happened to them before we even get to jealousy. Jealousy is not even a part of this conversation, because to go to jealousy is to blame our men, right? We're not doing it intentionally, but we're laying the blame now at the men instead of laying the blame where it started. Who infected our men with this idea that their woman is not valuable? Because back in our African culture, everyone is valued. Everyone is seen to bring benefit to the community. No one was looked upon as inferior. There was no such thing as men stand here while we are praying and women stand behind us. Like a little boy is standing in front of his mother. There was no such thing. So I hope we have this conversation from an African perspective. I appreciate what was said from the video. Yeah. But the way I'm looking at things now is I hear it and I slice it to take away the Western as much as I can, and then bring it back to have the conversation from an African perspective. Our men are not jealous of us.
Okay, and this is an Afrocentric conversation because it centers around us and how we can build ourselves up. So, based on the video and based on what we've all said, Mama K, what I want you to come in from this angle. This is religion. Is being used to entrench this misbehavior. So they use the Quran, they use the Bible to basically entrench this behavior. And this is basically one of the most catastrophic things that's ever happened to Africa, when they imposed these religions on us. For those of you who are listening, we go there because basically we say as it is. Religion, Christianity, and Islam are the two major things that's messed up Africa's mind today. That's making us think that our mothers should be subservient to us. So let's go from a religious angle, Mama K. Just give us a historical perspective of what you think and how we got here, and then we can tie into what Nduku was saying and what Khanyi was saying.
I summarize again what I before, and Nduku touched on that, almost 89% to 90%. Patriarchy is not the natural order of being. Otherwise, society would never have developed. Place when society, because gender is a social construct, remember, it's not biology. To say a woman is nothing is not biology. You're not born nothing, you're born a human being. So to be told you are nothing is a construct. There's a place time when society decided to change socializing human beings, and they socialized superior and inferior beings. The men, the women being inferior, the children don't even feature, they just became the property of men. And I will talk about something called customary law. Because while we are told that we are oral people, we did not write, our languages were not even languages, they were just sounds. The funny thing in Khanyisile Tshabalala, my namesake, because we are a lawyer, is that of all the things that are not real, one thing is written, and it is the same Cape to Cairo, Morocco, to called customary law. It can be called differently. Some call it traditional law. The tenets of it are the same. It has got three main principles. The first one, that the man is the head of the house. The second one, that therefore the children and the women are the property of the man. Thirdly, therefore inheritance shall be by the firstborn male of a female. Now you tell me, under Njingambande, who was the reigning, she would have said, no, my daughters don't inherit, only my sons will. Under Mujaji 1 and Mujaji 2, where only females can go on the throne, she would have said, you will be my successor, but you can't inherit because you are a girl. I mean, under Ya Asantewa, who led men to war, to fight to protect the national altar of the Ashanti people, she would have said, no, women and girls are nothing. This is not the natural order of things. This is colonization. And colonization found sneak it in. The funny thing is that it even connects the same topic we started in passing, because we couldn't avoid the attack of Israel and America on Iran. Colonialism realized that at a certain point, they will fight to be free. But when they are free, we need to make sure that the colonial system continues. Because colonialism, yes, primacy, no, yeah, that's a byproduct. They needed to know that through the colonial army, the colonial administrator, and they raised down their flag and we raise ours up. White privilege will still continue, because white privilege to the economy, white privilege is what makes America and the West tell us that first priority to South African gold. They have first the big 5 animals of Kenya. First priority to Kenyan, priority to Burundi coffee, the first priority to DRC minerals that we all need for this high-tech 21st century. It's privilege. It continues. They had to make sure they conquer the brain. How do you conquer the brain? Because they knew when this what was Ngoni? Okay, what was Ngoni before? So we will keep finding pieces of themselves to make sure they don't go. We're going to give them the Bible and the Quran. because the Bible and the Quran culture that is not you. If you are an African Muslim, sorry to just say it,
Yep.
if you're African Christian, we are first Christian, then you're African. Secondary. I mean, most African even care who are. It does not matter to them. What matters more is who was married with what they believe. So I left in here, religion where you find first principle of customary law of the house. If you speak a proper African language, tell me an idiom. Tell me an idiom that colonial Africa that says the man is behind it. This thing we found in the Bible. Inheritance by the firstborn male. This thing we find in the Old Testament, we see it there. Because inheritance depended on the system you followed pre-colonial. Pre-colonial systems, trilineal systems, there were patriarchal systems, but there was no patriarchal system in Africa. You can search it for it. There were patrilineal systems, like at the helm of actually the inflow of gas. No.
Mama K, you're cutting out. Your internet's breaking up a little bit.
Oh, where did I last? And I was bringing it to an end. Where did last year?
Oh, we're talking about patrilineal.
Yes. So most patrilineal society, patriarchal, no, because patriarchy is based on the three principles of it. Patrilineality simply means the surname. Inheritance will be through the male, but it does not say that women are nothing. To counterbalance, in the inflow of gas in Zulu, inflow in Swati was about, which means there was a check and balance there, and then women controlled agriculture. So you will find a straight society. I think I fully agree with Ndugu. If you are patriarchal, patriarchy is based on the hatred of women. You might not be at fault because you are socialized to be patriarchal, but check it out. Patriarchy of women. It cannot be defended as culture. So I think I'll leave it there for my other panel.
Okay, thank you. Khanyi.
So I think for me, I like to look at these things as when a lot of people believe something, we need to investigate where do people spend most of their time, and then how are these views perpetuated over time. So 2 places would be in the home at your foundational years, and then at school, and then you go on to work, right? So education does play a fundamental role, I think, in how we're socialized. And let me begin with the journey, I would say, from 0 to 7. That's where your brain is still developing. So how you perceive the world is developed from the age up until 7. And for a man, it would be in terms of how you view women, it would be determined by what was the relationship that you had with your mom, and also how were you mothered, right? So if we look at where society was at that time, and I'm looking at like I would say World War I, World War II times, people were not in the right frame of mind, and the quality of parenting or the mother-child relationship at that point, I would say, was not necessarily the healthiest relationship. And that becomes highly relevant because a human's emotional body is actually developed in those formative years. So how you see the world is developed in those 7 years. It's very difficult to change a person's mindset after a certain point of time. And as humans, by the age of 26, your prefrontal lobe is fully developed, meaning that whatever I've been socialized and whatever I believe, whether that's through family life, academia, or work life, I believe to be true. So when we look at I would say, one, mental health plays a critical role in how people understand information. So what a lot of people, I think, overlook is our nervous systems are very dysregulated. And if you look at the West, the dysregulation happened as a result of the wars. And as much as they don't want to acknowledge intergenerational trauma, we know that those things exist, right? And if we look at Africa, it would be the same, where it's colonialism and neoliberalism and everything that's been plaguing us as a community. These traumas, they really do sit within our psyche, right? So it's very difficult now for people to understand what we're telling them today, because a lot of people are not mindful. I will tell you something, and how you interpret that information, basically it depends on where your nervous system is today. I could say to you, Nduku, men are evil. If your nervous system is triggered and you've had a negative experience with the man, you'll be like, absolutely right. You won't even interrogate the information. I'm telling you, you won't even say to me, oh, why do you feel that way? You won't introspect. You'll just take my word and absorb what I'm telling you without really going through a critical process of analysis. And this is what is killing a lot of people, because we are a society and a humanity who's become mentally lazy. Unfortunately, whatever we have absorbed as knowledge, we hardly interrogate it because everything's been given to us, right? If you think about, that's why I mentioned the foundational years. If for example, you're a Christian child, you're handed the Bible, you believe those principles, you go to school, you go into a Western education, and in most of these so-called good schools, I'd love to also highlight that many of those schools are same-sex schools. So kids are also socialized around their own sex. So when exactly do you learn about the other sex? And that is also detrimental for your development, right? Because as I said to you, if you look at, as a man, how do you now form a healthy relationship with a woman? If your mother's nervous system was triggered while she was carrying you in the womb due to unprocessed trauma, and we know that trauma is real, as much as I know that a lot of people will dismiss trauma, but it's just because from a mental health perspective, we've not really understood the emotional body. We understand physical health well, but when it comes to the mind, it's still an ambiguity to a lot of people. So you as a young boy, if you've had an unhealthy relationship with your mother, not by your own doing, but because of intergenerational trauma, perhaps you've had a father who was socialized into religion, believed he was the head of the household, treated your mother really badly. That's all you've ever seen. And then you go to a same-sex Christian private school because that's good education. And then how do you think you go out into the world and see women as your equal and they deserve equal rights? I think we're asking a lot from people, where is there any positive socialization when it comes to the genders? So I think there's a lot of within the timeline that I've highlighted, there's a lot of points where we can sort of point to and see. It's within the home, it's within the trauma, it's within how my nervous system how well my nervous system is regulated, how I'm able to process information. Because at the end of the day, everybody has prejudice. Everyone is biased. And anybody who says they're not is a liar. I could see somebody with a nose piercing. If I don't like people with nose piercings, I'm going to conclude that, oh, I don't want to talk to that person. But that's, again, it's a reflection of me. It's me being mentally lazy and not overriding my lower brain and saying, actually, I need to get to know this person and have them rather prove me wrong versus just me saying, again, just me saying, oh, I don't like people who have nose rings. And I'm using the nose ring because I know that Mama K has one. But yeah, that's why. Yeah, so I think that for me, it is a form of mental laziness, and it is, as he said, it's a cognitive deficiency. But as to how we begin to solve it, that's why I tend to look at systemic and structural factors, because I think that those are the places that we can actually look to society to embed healthier forms of masculinity and femininity.
Whoa. I love your angle, Khanyi. Good to have you on board.
Thank you.
Nduku.
Khanyi over here just checked me because I'm at the point where now, like, if I see a weave on your head, I'm not talking to you.
No.
If I see you with fake nails, it's gonna take a little extra energy to talk to you. No, I'm serious. Like, so I'm being held accountable. Like, because I'm walking around looking at people with weaves, I'm like, you know, and I immediately I start like disrespecting you in my head. So I need to check myself with that, and see the value in the person, and not the weave on their head. Anyway, moving forward. If the tree is sick, examine the soil, not just the branches, right? If the tree is sick, if my fruit tree there is drying up, it's not producing fruit, I should not just look at the branches, I should also look at the soil. Am I giving it enough nutrients? Is the soil nutritious, right? Is it being watered? You don't just look at the tree and say, oh, this is the branch that's causing the, you have to look at the soil as well. What does that say? Who taught our men? And I'm going to move this also to women, because I have said several times recently, I'm not having this conversation while we are talking about just one of the entities. We're going to talk about the whole family, right? And I'm glad I am with people who understand the importance of that and who will open their arms to that approach of having the conversation. So who taught our men not to respect us? What system rewarded domination? What system rewards domination? What spiritual framework replaced balance? Right? What economic structure removed men from their roles as providers and protectors? What models of manhood did colonization promote? So we we don't even pay attention to TV and how TV and advertisements are used to push messages to us. We had a live session on TikTok where we addressed this, right? Communication, how it's used to program us. There's a show, Family Guy. Now here I'm talking about the children. In that show, that little boy Stewie disrespects his parents all the time. All the time. Boss Baby is a movie that just came out recently. Disrespecting his parents all the time. This is what our kids are watching. So if our kids are constantly watching this, why do you think they're not going to eventually think that they can open their mouth to you when you say stuff? Because it's subconscious. It's not that they want to. It's subconscious. It is starting to sit in their subconscious. And so that's what their brain is picking up, because their brain is understanding, oh, this is how apparently we're moving now. That's what the brain is understanding. This is how we are moving now, because it's constantly being told that this is how we are moving. So when you look at a lot of them, when you look at Cinderella needs a man to come rescue her from poverty. And it is because the man died that she's in the situation she is in. Huh? No, it wasn't an aunt who came and saved Cinderella. It wasn't her grandma. No. Her father died, she was in poverty and oppression, and then the prince came and she was fine. You know, when you look at Rapunzel is being oppressed by a woman. Rapunzel is being oppressed by her mother, but it takes a man to come and save no, not the woman, the friends of this woman who realize that she's captured her and they come and save her. No. Only the prince can come and save her. So we are in this society that tells us only man can save us, right? And then we go to church. Catholic, me, Mama Khanyisile, I know you're right there with me. We grew up under the Catholic Church. It says to us that we are not worthy, we as women, to speak of the word of God. We can't come in front of the congregation and speak and tell them and lead the church. Only men can do that. For generations, this church has spread this message that only men can take roles of leadership in the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church has dominated a lot of our spaces. So how are you, as a community, then going to have value of women if every Sunday and every time you're seeing that only men are responsible for this, right? And then there's the fact that our God is man. If your God, the creator of everything, is man, and you as woman is accepting that, you have by default accepted a submissive role to the man. by default, without even, you didn't even think about it. Oh yes, amen, this is what we are doing, let's move forward. Or why you didn't even ask questions, you just came in and said, okay, God is man, so let's keep moving. So in your head and in society, you have accepted without even any conversation that men rule you. And then let's flip it now to the women. We are in a society that doesn't allow conversation, that doesn't allow negotiation, that doesn't allow reasoning. So we've been, now men have abused us, they've beaten us, they've thrown us off buildings, they've raped us and all this. And our reaction now is, right? And we're very quick to react this way to these people, not to the system, to these people down here. We're very quick to react. We have no problem with violence when it comes to my brother, my sister, my husband, my wife. But when it comes to your boss, who needs the violence, when it comes to the president, who very much deserves it, now you think twice. Violence is not good. But now women, instead of sitting and talking to our men, sitting and talking to each other and finding ways that can include our men to solve the problem, we're just reacting to the problem. And now we have become the problem. Now we are out here twerking and being a part of the disrespect that we get. No, we are licensing the disrespect. Right now, women currently are to blame for the disrespect we are getting because of how we dress. And we dress that way because feminism, Western feminism told us that that's how we show pride in who we are. And we as Africans, because we are thinking in a Western way, we were like, oh, I can show my boobs. That's womanhood. That's me standing for my womanhood. I can show my ass. That's me standing for my woman. I'm so tired of seeing muffin tops. Like, put your muffin tops back. It's not cool. That is not embracing your womanhood at all. Because in you dressing, I saw a video recently. This mother in the kitchen cooking with shorts, these shorts that now apparently half your ass has to be out. I didn't know when you all tell me when that memo went out because I didn't receive it. I'm walking in New York last summer and all I see is backsides. Like, I'm not joking. The short is cut where the chick is coming out on both sides. That's a mother. The son is in the kitchen with her. You tell me how that son is supposed to respect you. Because the son is seeing elsewhere in community that we are supposed to cover up. This is a respected woman is supposed to cover up. Don't think that just because you're not Muslim, they're not seeing Islam and how Muslim women move. And if your son has any inclination of critical thinking, they will start asking them, comparing things in community. Why is my mom dressed like this? Mm-hmm. So, yes, it started with the system that conditioned our men. And then our men were behaving a certain way. And our men conditioned us. And now we're behaving a certain way. And because we didn't have that conversation, we are now just reacting. We are now sanctioning. We have licensed. We have signed, signature, agreed to the disrespect that we are receiving right now as women. So this conversation cannot just be had, what are men doing? It's what are men doing? How have we reacted? And what needs to be done, right? What should we have done instead of just being reactionary to solve this problem? What should we do now? And I hope that's where we're going to go with the conversation. So going back to who taught us, who taught our men to disrespect us? Let's look at that who, so that we can detach from that who. We need to identify that who as a danger, as an enemy, as a threat to our community. What system rewarded domination? We look at that system and we do not decide to keep it. As I was watching yesterday, that movie on apartheid, I'm sorry I'm going long. One of the people, and Mama Khanyisile, I am so looking forward to having a personal conversation with you about apartheid because my heart is aching after yesterday. A lot of the people who led the movement were reverends, Christian reverends. And Christianity tells you to turn the other cheek, right? So what spiritual framework replaced balance? We must detach. I'm sorry. I keep hearing our people, like people who are in the culture, talking about, I don't mean to disrespect your religion. I do mean to disrespect your religion. 100%. I want to disrespect it because it has caused harm in my community. I'm not apologizing for making you feel shame as a Christian. I want you to feel shame so that you can detach from that virus. I'm not apologizing for criticizing you as a Muslim because I want you to feel shame so that you can detach from that virus. To send these mixed messages is what is our problem right now. If we identify a problem with religion and what it is doing to our community to harm, we cannot at the same time apologize for pointing that out. We cannot.
Yep.
Some of these conversations must be black and white, pun very much intended. So
I agree.
Let's deal with the source of the problem, and let's understand, like, to go to healing, we must detach from the things that caused it.
Okay, based on what all you three beautiful ladies have said, as the only man here, and I'm coming from a father, from a dad, from a grandfather's perspective, and I often say this, and people hear me say this. My mother, my wife, my daughters, my granddaughter. What kind of legacy am I leaving for them if I'm telling them that I'm above them? That there's no equity. For all the men out there, if you're a father, a brother, just think about it. The source, what caused it? Religion. Right on my case, giving us a historical background, we were never patriarchal. Patrilineal, matrilineal, yes, but we're never patriarchal. What's the source? What enforced it? Like we've all said, it's Christianity. Then they give us the education to basically further enforce it. And then, guys, just flip it around. Just look around you. Look at the society you live in today. Look at the imbalances. See how things are just not okay. This is intentional. This stems from basically the fact that we took the balance away from society. And when you take the equilibrium, because I say there's a balance between there's a feminine energy and the masculine energy. When those energies don't balance, what you have is a deficit. Consequently, you see the things that we're doing today. Look at the war in Iran today. Who are those pushing for it? The man with draining testosterones, yeah, of men. Look at them, and they're pushing this. They're pushing these things basically for dominance, which is basically affecting society, our world today. They're pushing people into a war that's not needed. War is not needed. We can actually, this world is so big. There's over 8 billion people where we actually all live in harmony with each other.
It's needed if you're making profits.
Yeah, obviously. We can live in harmony. There should be no hunger anywhere in the world with the sources and everything we have in the world today. But for some reason, look at us. Patriarchy, men. We distort nature. We distort medicine, we just talk education, you name it, food, everything's now been commodified because of all the distortion, and there's no lack of balance. The fact that we undermine women. If we had our mothers are nurturers, and you bring your mother into a room, she's the one who's gonna calm you down. Our mother in nature is basically gonna make you think differently. But when you have no feminine energy and you only have the testosterone in the room all the time, and if you look in your boardrooms, mainly all you're going to see is men. You have the token one woman or two, but mainly is men. So the lack of balance and the fact that we then push it into the system through education and religion makes it worse. Hence, I'll come to the conclusion that patriarchy has destroyed the order of nature. Like with the topic, we come back to the topic. So, Mama K, back to you. Let's go to where do we go from here because of time now.
I think maybe before where we go to from now, just quickly, Ndoko, it's not about Catholicism. Yes, Catholicism is the mother of all churches. I mean, Protestant churches are born.
Yeah, everything came from there.
For those who are Christian and have never even... That's what baffles me with people who are Christians. They don't even know the history of Christianity, but they are something they are willing to die for. They don't even know how it Protestants can say we are not Catholic, they are lying, because it is the Pope who when Easter happens in every year, and they follow suit.
Yep.
Easter is even a Catholic thing. I don't know how Protestants got hooked on Christian. So Christmas, it's a Catholic thing by right. It's not even about Catholicism. I think I want to stretch say it's about Christianity. So even Protestants who allow women to be priests are actually in violation, because that verse has not changed. That verse still says women must learn in silence. Women lead men. Women can't lead men. So they're in violation. I don't know how they justify it. So it's not a thing. That's what I wanted to point out.
It's a Bible thing, yeah.
Yep. The second thing I wanted to point out also is that your origin. Really, how is it yours? You don't even know it's even started. You're not even in control of it. They meet every year. They call it the Vatican, this number. They decide Christianity. Are you aware? That's why each country has a national council of churches. Ours is the South African nation. South Africa. They attend global council of churches. That's why they get the march orders from the Pope. So, I mean, only if you know what to say. Your religion, it's not yours. You are just following. You're just follower, and they like that way when you don't even know it started. At least when I was a Christian, which did a whole study right from the first committee that met between Paul and the of Acts, and then I came down with it all the way to what now is called, I don't even know, it's the Vatican whatever number now, but it as each thing passes. So it's not your religion. I will disrespect it because it's not for me. I don't think I'm hurting you. And if you feel too personal, try making African culture personal that way, and then I'll respect you. The third thing from your offering also to talk about is we had no male God. True. Because we are not creationists. So is to cosmology in African spirituality. Cosmology, people come to being, they are not created. Zulu people prize the reeds so much because they believe they came in being from the reeds. That's why the reeds is what we celebrate at the start of a year, because our year is a big thing. It cuts the year that ends and the rains. They have the reed dance. Swati people, I'm sure also might have lost it. Because I believe came into being from the reeds. If you go and look at that cosmology, you came into being from something. What cosmologists to point out is they are as different as ours, because we are not creationists. It's not a one size fits all. Each culture says this is how we came into being. But what's fundamental about it is none of them where the coming into being was a particular biology and the other biology crafted from this biology. Meaning, it's not girls or women that came forth and men and boys were crafted from this, or it's not men and boys and the were crafted from this. Important. So really going cosmology, people came in being, because that's very important. There you will see how much equity is in our spirituality and in our cultures. And with Khanyi, mentioned the very crucial stage of 0 to 7. But I observed the rule that switch off our mics when we are not on the floor. But I laughed so loud, I wish you could have heard it. Because I went to school, I was born again at the age of right through to my matric. I was this dedicated Christian, non-drinking, born-again person. I went to school with people who already were going to ship-ins, to girls who already on a Friday wouldn't sleep at home. They sleep at a boyfriend and come home on Sunday or Monday. Don't do all those things. But
you're a good Christian.
Because they're for the great. No, they found us. Now they think I must find Jesus. Just when you guys were drinking yourself to a stupor and having sex all over the show, it time to start nonsense. Doesn't exist. I'm not hearing Helen.
Mama Khanyisile's audio is bad.
I'm doing
Yeah,
the
your
things
audio.
Oh,
Yeah, and what you're saying
better
is
now.
Your audio, sis.
it's
Is
so
breaking up.
annoying
I know,
when
my-
you're like
my
into what you're saying. It
It
takes
is acting up today. So where do I start? Maybe I'll just start here. Now, all these people I went to metric with who are having the time of their lives, you know, drink boyfriends and girlfriends. I wasn't enjoying that. I was a born again Christian. Now preparing for their grave, they fear the stone, they're fearing hell, they found Jesus. I'm thinking, you can't tell me about Jesus. I've lived this all my life. I had enough time to research this and to know that it does exist. It's a dummy. So I've tried. You found knowledge. Yeah. Was not a young person, which means I had why I researched it. So Khanyi, the nail on the head. This 0 to 7, I am shocked that even this one is now a Christian. God, I thought I have a whiskey buddy here because that's what they were doing in their teen years. No, they are now holy and mighty Christian. They are scared of the grave. Anyway, ask me a question. I just wanted to pick up on the things that my panelists said.
Yeah.
How do we move from here? Religion is criminal. Criminalize religion. We are getting nowhere. Religion is criminal. Can I tell you? Only people who have opposed me in me with Iran in this attack, telling them until I thought, no man, I'm going crazy here. Let me go look at these people. 99.9% of them, Jesus is the Lord. So I am talking to people who support Israel because that's what Jesus Bible asked them to do. Detach because there's no. You are African. I want to talk to people who are West African before they are anything else. We need to criminalize religion, and done to us. Ndugu touched on it. I think she must elaborate on it because I've taken so much time. He has criminalized all of us. Christianity has taught us, sorry, religion has taught us violence. Religion has criminal, but also for me, the I through my audio is better again.
Yeah, it keeps going on.
Okay.
It keeps being choppy.
Yeah, it's an attack. So, then who need people of South Africa? I'm glad.
Yeah, go on. You finished your point. Oops.
Okay, it's back.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna say this point so I can leave because the very crucial. We discover about 9 months now. In South Africa, we call it Nguni and Nduku, which is GUNI, and then the amount of them in Malawi, in Zambia, I think in DRC themselves and ONY in Ngoni. Okay, so where this comes from, we were called Abangoni. If you translate that into English, the ones who don't sin. So I think we lost it and said Nguni. Here's the thing.
Wow.
Abangoni were criminals to now start looking at the. Yes. You are wired through the DNA of non-sinners. Abangoni, that's who people were. The religion comes and tells you sin. I just wash my hands. So the parting message, what needs to be done, analyze speaking against religion. I will act against you, but you know what? Someone must.
We do what we do, sis. We know we don't care what people
like
think.
You, yeah. I don't tolerate religion, and we shouldn't. I think I'll leave it there. Thank you.
All right, thanks, sis. Khanyi, to you.
I think Mama K actually highlighted a very important point about our background and us being non-sinners. And for me, if we look at the moral standard for society, the bar is extremely low because the bar has been set by religion. Before religion, everybody understood that every action had a consequence.
As a consequence, yep.
Because my actions, I was held accountable to my creator. My relationship was with the creator. Now, when you insert an intermediary, the problem becomes that humans are infallible. The point being, that's why we are not supreme. We are infallible, we make mistakes, we're subject to error. But the problem now is that the standard for morality is a human standard. And that's what we are seeing play out globally today. That same standard is what's finding itself within the legal system and why there's such weak enforcement. It's because at a judicial level, you've got judges sitting there with all the biases and with the prejudice deciding when to apply and when not to apply, depending on who is in front of them.
Yeah.
So for as long as the law that we are upholding is not the spiritual law and the cosmic law, society and the world will continue to look exactly how it looks. And it will only continue to get worse. Because the more that they want to do, the more they put down in law. How many laws do we have? The amount of laws that we have, province level, national level, country level, internationally, the world should be perfect. How does it even make sense that it looks the way it looks, right?
Tell me about it.
So for me, there is a huge disconnect in how are we regulating society. And it's unfortunate that we are Indian because Mama K would actually have such an interesting perspective about how Africa was a self-regulating society. And I think that becomes important. The fact that historically we had no prisons meant that we knew how to self-regulate. And that's why I did in my previous
Mama K, do you want to talk about that? Sorry, Khanyi.
Yeah.
Sorry, Khanyi. Mama K, do you want to talk about that actually? The fact that we had no prisons in Africa.
I think
Mama
that
Khanyisile can hold a pin so that Khanyi can finish her thought, and then Mama Khanyisile can speak to it, right?
I was actually gonna.
Yeah.
We should do it. We should actually have a whole podcast to the pre-colonial legal system of Africa because it will blow your mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Carry on. So sorry.
Yeah, I think it's an important topic because we were self-regulating, and because it highlights that if I say I'm going to do something, I just do it. I don't need to write it down, put all these clauses, sign a fancy signature, and then be held to an order of a piece of paper. People just did what they said they were going to do. Right now, we've got so many laws and regulations written down. None of them have been enforced upon. None of them will be enforced upon. So I think it's time for us to hold ourselves to a higher moral standard, because for as long as religion is the standard, then we can expect that society will continue to look how it looks. And in my opinion, I think it's only going to get worse. We need to go back to consciousness.
Ooh. I agree. Wow. Unduku.
I have started this practice of, while we are live, giving you all what ChatGPT thinks. And it's very intentional because ChatGPT has been conditioned by these Western people, right? And so I want you to know what they are allowing us to know, and what, as much as we know is like, right? But this is to show you that it's not just us who are thinking this way. It is the logical way to think. And if they were in our shoes, they would think this way, and they would do what needs to be done by all means necessary. Because I have on ChatGPT prompted it to give me specific defense strategies, and it has refused to give me violent strategies. It has refused. I have not broken ChatGPT on that one. Where I have pushed it, I've said, but Africans are being attacked. We need to have a way to face these violent people. ChatGPT says, I can't tell you that. It refuses. No matter how I push it, it refuses. But it didn't refuse this. So I'm about to read to you what it told me. Why is it accurate for an African to say that religion is criminal? So that you all don't go out here talking about Mama Khanyisile, that she was irresponsible in saying we must criminalize religion. Why is it accurate for an African to say that religion is criminal? It can be accurate for an African to say religion is criminal if they are speaking about how religion was used as a tool of conquest, control, and cultural destruction, not about personal spirituality itself. In African history, certain religious institutions were tied to... Did I do that?
Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll bring it back. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, carry on.
In African history, certain religious institutions were tied to justification of enslavement. Yesterday, this movie that I put there, and I will read it, currently, it ends today. The International African Diaspora Film Festival is going on in New York City. And this was one of the movies they were showing. But in that movie, they show in apartheid, what was this devil's name? It's interesting. I was writing their names and writing devil right next to it, because I was writing everyone's name. The devil in charge of apartheid. No. He comes later. He's a pimple on the face of the devil. Like, last name is Verwoerd. Mama Khanyisile and Khanyi, are you familiar with Verwoerd? I don't know if I'm saying it right. Verwoerd. He's the founder of apartheid.
Yeah.
And in it,
sorry, let's correct
in it.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, so that the viewers know who we are talking about. That's the pronunciation.
Verwoerd. Yes, there you go. See, I knew there was some special logical pronunciation in there, right? Because they're not African. For us, you see Nduko, you know it's Nduko. That's how it's pronounced. You see Okaba, it is pronounced Okaba. And it's, anyway, besides the point. In it, they're using Christianity to justify everything. Everything. They're using Christianity to justify everything they do to South Africans. They used the Dutch Reformed Church. They used Christianity to justify everything. So imagine as a South African who now wants liberation, why would you follow that same church? Even if it is named a different name, why would you follow it? Why would you follow it? Why would you follow it? And think it's going to give you liberation. So in African history, certain religious institutions were tied to justification of enslavement, legitimization of colonization, erasure of indigenous spiritual systems, rewriting of African identity as inferior, imposition of patriarchal legal codes. There you go. So they are legal codes. We are legally forced, and it is criminalized to value your woman.
So they brought the legal framework, and basically, when we're talking about the law is basically something that the Europeans brought to Africa to basically reinforce. Yeah,
it is law, cardinal law, by church law, that man should be the only one standing. And by man, they don't entertain the LGBTQ thing there. They're not going to be like, oh, you're a woman, but you now see yourself as a man, and so you can be in front of the church. No, you have to have a penis between your legs, a natural one, by the way. No, I'm serious. Like, as we entertain nonsense, let's point it out.
Okay.
The Catholic Church, as much as now it's going to be like, oh, LGBTQ plus is a thing we are doing, right? And for those of you who want to come for me, come for me. But come for me asking me for the nuance of what I'm saying, right? Fix your intellectual capacity and tolerance before you come at me and ask me why I'm saying what I'm saying. The Catholic Church can go around saying that this is what we're doing now, but they're not going to accept you as a trans to lead the Catholic Church because now you call yourself a man and they know you don't have a penis between your legs. They won't allow that. Anyway, for example, European empires often moved in tandem with missionary activity, and religious narratives were used to morally justify domination. Similarly, in some regions, religious authority became intertwined with political expansion and legal restructuring. We see this in the history of the English church and everything. From that perspective, Rome, from that perspective, religion functioned as an instrument of power, and power that harms can be called criminal. It's as simple as that. Power that does not value life can be called criminal. You do not need to worry about being politically correct. You do not need to worry about pleasantries. You do not need to worry. I don't know why you all offer pleasantries to evil people who are constantly killing you. I don't understand why, by the way, I should worry about talking about Israel and Jews and all this stuff when the Epstein files has exposed how much evil has been done to us through them.
We're not paying attention.
If you think right now as I speak I'm crazy, I have now 100% diagnosed you as the crazy one. Because you're the crazy one if you think I'm crazy for talking the way I'm talking right now. You, right now, confirmed are the crazy one. Because you should be thinking like me. If your brain is functioning right and you're a Black person, you should be thinking like me. So from that perspective, religion functioned as however, the more precise statement would be, this is ChatGPT now and its Western side, because we have to now be, religion, when fused with empire and used to dominate, becomes criminal, which still validates Mama Khanyisile's point, religion is criminal. Spirituality aimed at moral development and community cohesion is different from religion used as a political weapon, and that's what religion is. All of it, Islam, clearly Judaism, Christianity, have all
the Abrahamic.
We are literally living in a time where religion is being used to bomb people right now, to criminalize. You cannot say Jews have done this, Israel is doing this online without being flagged because they're using religion to criminalize you speaking up against them. So we as Africans can call anything that harms us criminal. I can call the government of the United States criminal right now because it has performed criminal activities against our people. And I don't need to worry about saying that. And I don't need to worry about whether my people will stand with me. So I'm speaking to you, my people. You should all, in your heads, whether you say it out loud or not, understand that the United States government is criminal because of what it's done to our people, and it continues to do. And so is religion. And so I stand with my sister in saying that we should call religion and see religion as criminal for us Africans. And then the solution, Oladile, we have to start educating outside of the Western way of seeing things. Yeah. We have to build, we have to break down, remove, get rid of, burn. One thing they did to South Africans during their apartheid, do you know that they destroyed their homes, crushed them, demolished them, burned them, their homes? And then they had to, that morning there was a truck that showed up in front of what used to be your home. And you had to put whatever you can in that truck. You couldn't put everything. You left everything behind. And they dumped them in a place where there were no structures. Those who could build metal, what do you call them? The aluminum for sheets, homes. Those who couldn't, they used plastic and all that. That's what they did. So why would I right now not call that government criminal? And then when I say in these spaces that white people in South Africa are not South African and they should be removed from South Africa, why is that an insane thing? What I'm addressing is we need to start teaching our children. We need to have an education system that teaches, first of all, it has to start with teaching who we are, what we did. We are valuable. We are powerful. We are capable. We are human beings. This is our culture. Our culture upholds life. This is how we interact with nature. So for maybe the first 5 years, and this is a thing where we as a community need to come together and decide how many years do we teach about us before we introduce the conversation about the enemies. And we teach them one at a time what they did. We show them the videos of what they did in South Africa, what they did in Kenya, what they did in Congo, what they did everywhere. So that in our kids' minds, they never forget that that is the enemy and I have to move with them accordingly. We have to teach our children this so that they can protect themselves moving forward and generations to come. That's the only thing that's going to fix this. And given the conversation today, that part of education, we have to teach, first of all, that man cannot be without woman, and woman cannot be without man. And balance must be met, and therefore they must work together, both of them. And to work together, there must be communication. This is one thing that misses, communication. You must communicate. None of us, no matter how many Marvels or what movies you watch, can read minds. So we must communicate and we must be tolerant of each other. We must be very patient because we are moving ourselves from a society that teaches intolerance and teaches impatience and teaches being very uncomfortable in uncomfortable conversations. No, we must move from that to get to the healing. So let us have tolerance for each other. Let us communicate with respect and let us build a system of education that upholds our culture and that teaches from our cultural perspective. That's the solution. And let's stop apologizing for pointing out our enemies and calling them what they are. Let's stop apologizing. Please, let's stop apologizing. If I come here and I'm criticizing Christianity, I'm not apologizing. If I come here and criticize Islam and what it's done, I'm not apologizing. I understand it's going to hurt. It hurt my feelings when Dr. Carr, who is the one who woke me up to this, was talking about criticism. It hurt my feelings so much. But I understood I couldn't be in the chat talking about Dr. Carr. That's my religion. No, I went to the books. I started reflecting. I started thinking. That's what you should do. So thank you, Ladide.
Yeah, thank you. My perspective, and then we're just going to go around the table just to finish it off. My perspective is, I agree with Mama K in terms of criminalizing religion. Guys, like Undugu said, I'm very unapologetic about what I say, because for those who follow us on this platform, we say what we mean and we say it intentionally. Because at some point in our lives, we need to awaken from that cognitive dissonance that's kept us where we are. And I'll say this, guys, just look at every system that we followed. Pre-colonial Africa was not perfect, but one thing I always say was that we never lacked. And we had the moral code that guided us, that was acted as a checks and balances about what we did. That was in place. And those things were in place without religion. So we Africans knew how to exist, and we knew how to check on ourselves, and we knew how to do what we need to do to basically exist and live in balance with nature without decimating it. This is basically how we lived. And then lo and behold, what would I call them? They came with their so-called, they came.
The viruses.
They came with the viruses. And that virus they infested us. They infested us.
The viruses.
I agree with you. And they came with the viruses and they infested us. And then guys, look at where we are today. And like Chinua Achebe said, things fell apart. Because we disconnected from who we are to actually accept what they brought to us. And this is basically where we are today. So if you're an African person and you're still protecting what the Muzungu gave to you, then guys, when I say psychiatry, you're probably need to go for an evaluation. Seriously. Because you can see that everything that we're doing today is not working for us. No, we Africans become European. We become gatekeepers and mission managers for the European concept. That we're basically losing ourselves every single day. And every destruction that's coming, we are accepting. Every policy they bring, we're accepting. We're not even checking to see if it's good or bad. We just sign here and we're all signing away. Look at what's happening in Kenya. Look at what's happening in Nigeria. They're basically infesting us, and they're giving us that basically the Europeans are There is no race against time because they know there's no awakening going on. So they're trying to do everything they can to basically get control as quick as possible. But stupidly, Africans, because of the trinkets and mirrors they're going to get, because they promise you scholarship for your kids abroad, you're basically giving away the lives of generations not yet unborn. Guys, I can't say it, I don't know how else to say it, but these people are evil. And we tolerating, and we are being complicit to what's destroying us. We need to move differently. And this, guys, I'll say it again, like I keep saying, guys, we're at war. We are at war. The quicker we understand that, the quicker we get together and start doing something differently, re-educating ourselves, getting rid of the religion, the quicker the better. Mama K, final words from you, please.
Oh, thank you so much for what you said, Oladele. So true, I support it 100%. I think that we need to criminalize is the so-called for South Africa, Roman Dutch law. For Kenya, it's English law, depending who colonized you. For Mozambique, it's Portuguese law. Because it is tied of which is a customary law. The two go side by side. We need to go back to our pre-colonial, and that's a podcast on its own, as I have asked Ole. Yeah. Amazingly, in South Africa, law Ngisa, which is a constant act of balancing, as we were not perfect,
justice.
We knew that. But we constant act of balance so that there are no imbalances, whether in health, in education, in gender relations, in culture, in our whole concept of the law, permit everything, and it was a constant act of balancing. It was restorative and reparative. No justice under neoliberalism. The minister in South Africa of justice is nothing but a minister of the court. Check it, countries, you'll see what I'm talking about. That's why I left the Justice Committee. I am so happy.
Yeah, you said.
Current chief whip under try and took me of that committee because I was getting really frustrated. Because it's not justice, what they in charge of court administration. And the actual court scene itself is because the person who is aggrieved feature. How they people. If Oladele rapes me, God forbid, is not Oladele, is not Khanyisile versus Oladele. It is the state versus Oladele. Oladele raped me, but it's the state, which is why I sit there for everybody else is talking and my lawyer what is talking and sitting there like lawyers even tell you I don't think I'm not allow you to take a stand and spoil our case. Hello, that's not reparative, that's not restorative. There is no minister of justice to you. I don't care what they deals with court administration. Then the of police, then also we must call the minister because going on in our correctional facilities to stem follow. So Oladele, I'm looking forward to be a guest with pre-law. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to all the participants, and thank you to everyone who tuned in.
Thank you, sis. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Okay, Khanyi Tshabalala, final words from you, my sister.
Okay, so there's been a lot of mental health language thrown around, which I would like to call everybody else on. I think it's not, you can't really say, oh, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, then you should go for psychiatric evaluation and you're crazy. I think that, again, that is because we have a Western understanding of what mental health is. And it's quite important, to my closing off point, that if we're going to do the deconstructing and the decolonization and the deinstitutional work, we need to first become mentally sound, which is we need to determine what mind health looks like for us. But it's very divisive for us to say, agree with my perspective or go for psychiatric evaluation. And I know you're saying that to be polarizing and to push the conversation, and that's fine. But as somebody committed in the healing space, I can't necessarily say that that's the way that we should go about it. At the end of the day, like I've said to you, how somebody processes what you're saying to them is a direct reflection of their nervous system. So that's why for me, this needs to happen at a healing level. Whatever we've shared today, I think people need to take it away with them, whatever parts that they've felt that they can absorb. And I think that that's even a stretch, because with how we're living in society today, we're in such a state of fear, we're in such a state of anxiety. I don't even think people hear what we're saying. And that's something that we also need to take into account as people doing this work. You'll think I'm saying all of these things. It makes sense. People are not in 2020, 2026 because they're not mindful, they're not conscious, they're not present. People are traumatized, people are reliving their trauma. And that trauma is being perpetuated further by the economic and social circumstances that we find ourselves in. So I would encourage, for those who are listening, conversation may not have made sense to you today, and that's okay, because we meet everybody where they are. But it's imperative that you begin that journey inwards. And then you will be able, I think that the emphasis should be on how can you become better individually. Yes, we will deal with the structural and the systemic issues, but we must always remember all change starts with you. Once you are right, body, mind, and soul, your external environment will begin to show, and then you'll be able to be a vessel for other people, and then be a bit more helpful in trying to deconstruct on a structural and systemic level. So it is difficult work to do. No one is expecting people to do it on their own. We're going to work the journey together. It's uncomfortable and it's painful, but we must be ready to first heal as a society first before we can do all the other work that we've spoken about today.
Thank you, Khanyi. I love that. Undeku, final words, please.
Khanyi, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. I'm going to say, however, that those people you're so concerned about their feelings and mental state are not worried about calling me crazy when I speak the way I speak, which is why I say, and it's, by the way, I don't do anything here. I don't follow that.
Yes.
I don't follow, right? I don't follow that trend of doing podcasts where I say the outrageous things so that you can subscribe. I don't do that. The outrageous things I say, I actually believe in. I truly do believe in. I'm calling you crazy because you're calling me crazy. I'm saying to you, when you call me crazy, that you're the crazy one, because what I'm saying is what a sound mind should be in. And the other thing I'm noticing is, Khanyi, this system of mental wellness that you're under, that you've gone through, is Western. And what it has done, it has made us weak people. It really has. There's more suicides. You think about it. With the prevalence of this system that caters to us and takes care of us and makes sure that we don't say the harmful thing, because you're going to hurt someone's feeling and they're going to lose their mind and they're going to be, that system has made us now more susceptible to suicides. It has made us more susceptible to mental instability. So that system is not working. It's not. And the system where I was brought up with my parents and our culture telling us, Nduku, why are you behaving like that? That is not the way to behave. What do you think you're behaving like that for? Like, straight up told you what was wrong. That system strengthened us. It empowered us. I never thought of suicide. Even when I was in my lowest low and the thought came to mind, I was like, I have children, I have family. What am I thinking about this for? You know? So I'm saying no to the mental system go on.
Of the West, yes, but the one I'm talking about is not a Western system, and that's what I mean. When I talk about deinstitutionalizing, that's not a Western system.
I agree with deinstitutionalizing. I'm actually currently writing a paper that shows that we need to get rid of prisons and all that, right? Mental institutions, I don't support that. What I'm pointing out, let me go back to being clear. What I'm pointing out is, if you think, as you sit down and listen to me, that I'm crazy, you're the crazy one for thinking that. Because what I'm saying should be your logical conclusion as an African person. When you have been introduced a system of religion that criminalizes yours, and that harms your community, and since you started practicing it, all you've seen is harm in your community and the degradation of your community, then you must stop at one point and say, that's criminal. And it is okay for you to say that. You should not think you're crazy to say that. When you're under a system that sees you as a Black person as a criminal constantly and keeps criminalizing you, and no matter how much, and now I'm speaking specifically about the United States, no matter how much you go through civil rights and attempt to show them your humanity, they still treat you as inhuman. You must be okay with saying that system is criminal. And you shouldn't be worried about skirting around that and finding nice words and nice way to say that. That's what I'm pointing out, right? I, of course, let me make it clear, have love for Black people, but Black people who understand that we are humans, Black people who are pushing for our well-being, Black people who are willing to reject and detach from systems that harm us, right? So this is what I'm going to say, parting words. Communication, communication, communication. And let's be tolerant of each other. I shouldn't be in a space where we are talking about liberation, and when I say that LGBTQI plus is an issue, you all shut me down. You should be willing to hear why I'm saying this, so that we can identify the problem and solve it. Because to shut people down when they say stuff like that is to avoid dealing with the problem. The problem continues to fester. And we will be angry with each other and we will be upset. It's okay. But can we come back next week and work with each other despite that anger? And you will notice I'm not walking away from spaces where I'm angry. I'm always kicked away from those spaces. I'm always kicked away. I will, even when I'm mad at you all, I will still come back and no, for real. Like I still show up and work with you all, even when I'm so mad at you all and judging you all. I have put myself in uncomfortable situations, which is why I demand it of you all. I am living very uncomfortably right now, judging myself and being judged and all that, but still coming back and loving those people who do that to me. So I'm not asking of anyone what I'm not doing myself. And this is where we need to get to if we're going to solve any problem right now. We cannot continue indulging this nonsense that Western mental system has to. And the irony is that they're the ones causing us the mental instability. And then taking away the tools that we already had to deal with that type of thing. Right? You do have to have tough skin in a way. Honestly, in the African way, you do have to have it. You cannot be that susceptible to the pressures that, because there are so many of them. And this is the place where we have failed our children in teaching them that life is going to be hard. Prepare yourself. Suicide is not an option because now you've selfishly taken yourself away from the community that needs you. And then by doing it too, you have brought harm to the community because they have to deal with that with you, because we are a community that values life. And therefore we start by valuing our own life. I hope I'm making sense through all that talk.
Yeah, you're making sense.
Yeah.
You're making sense. Okay, final words from me.
Last sentence from what was said.
Okay.
This Western side truly makes us weak. Ndugu, in my time when I wrote matric, the results were published in the. I don't know of anyone in my time, unless my people I went to school with can come on this show and call. I don't know if their name came on the paper, they failed. As a matter of fact, took responsibility. You knew when you were going to fail. Now the pass rate is 33%. We can't publish it in the paper because now they must come and be given it secretly, and they still commit suicide despite it. I mean, I have my case. Sorry.
I think we need another podcast on mental health.
Yeah, wait. I'm working on bringing somebody on who's gonna actually specifically talk about that. So I'm working on that. So I'll keep you all updated. Okay. Final word from me, guys. For me, it's stupidity and insanity for us to keep using tools and systems that are not working for us and expect change. The moment Muzungu infiltrated and infested Africa, they've imposed their systems on us. And like I said in earlier, Africa never lacked. We lived in abundance. And when they came, look at us today. Africa is in Africans are in poverty. Not the poverty that we created, but the poverty that the system created, that create lack, that we have to go chasing after things that they've created, materialistic things that they've created, for us to be relevant in a capitalist system that we never had. Consequently, look at us. Now we become our enemy within. Now we turn against each other just to be relevant in the system they created. And that right now, if you look all over Africa today, we'd rather kill each other to be relevant in a system that's destroying us than be our brothers and sisters keepers. This is basically what religion has done. This is what the education has done. This is what all the systems has done. And for us as Africans, if we think this is normal, I've got to say, we are delusional. We're deluded if we keep believing it's normal. I have to say other way. Sorry, Kanye, I know you're kind of subtle, and but if you think that these systems are working for us and you think you're okay with it, then you're a bigger fool than I thought you were. Anyway, that's my parting words. Guys, thank you very much for being part of this. And I keep forgetting, guys, if you're watching this, please subscribe to our channels. We need to subscribe, please. We know we're doing a lot of work, so we need to get this message out there. So if you enjoy this, subscribe to Kumbukeni, subscribe to the Imagine Alkebulan. What's your channel, Khanyi?
Seize the Light Studio.
Okay, Seize the Light Studios, Kumbukeni, the Imagine Alkebulan. Please subscribe to your channels. Let's get this message. If you think this has been helpful and impactful, and you think so other people need to hear it, please share. Let's get it through the algorithms, because the more you do that, the better for us, so we can get the message out there. Because this message is actually, for me, I think it's very important for people to hear, but we're not getting it out there enough. So we need your help to do that for us, please, guys. Thank you very much. We'll be back on Thursday. And we're going to, on Friday next week, we're going to be talking about economics. We're going to be talking economics. It's one of the biggest problems facing Africa today, because we have to talk about economy. Fadel Kabubi is coming, so look out for us on Friday. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Asanteni, asanteni.